I mean, I've definitely hyped it up long enough. It is time to check out this week's heat.
Taking a look at this week's heat. This week's heat.
And I'm so incredibly excited to have this guy before me. Mr. Jimmy Nevis joins me in studio. This is when the crowd goes wild. I know people in their cars right now going, oh yeah. I've been waiting for this moment on Culture Beat with Carissa Cupido, and I'm so excited to have this man in front of me. Now, Mr. Jimmy Nevis, before we get into the nitty gritty of things we don't talk about, and we absolutely will be talking about them, I do want to remind you of a time that we were both students back in the day at the lovely UCT on the foot of the mountain in the mother city. And I actually had you as one of my first celebrity interviews. But just before that, we had a casual conversation about your very first single, Elephant Shoes. And you were like, it's going to be around. It's going to be played. It's probably going to be on high rotation on radio. And I was like, sure, of course, yeah. I mean, I've had so many people come through and tell me the very same thing. I am telling you, a week or two later, there wasn't a shop I stepped into, a mall that I entered, a radio station that I was flipping through that was not playing that song.
Yeah.
I know all the lyrics to this song too. I'm sure everybody in studio as well. And I just knew Jimmy Nevis is going to be a household name. Mr. 7764 joins me in studio today. And I have to say, as the first question of today, how did you do it? And how did you know, or did you know that you were going to be the success that you are today?
Sure. First of all, you're taking me back to UCT days when I was wearing flip-flops and shorts in the rain.
Though.
In the rain. I think there was a time I used to wear pajama pants even.
It was
you're always
accepted.
you're pushing the boundaries. Yeah. But I think for me, like when I think about how I started in this industry, it's always been very out of body to some extent, because I think I grew up quite shy. And I think that, working in music and doing something in the arts, I think I always knew I'd be able to do it behind the scenes, but like being the person in the front wasn't always necessarily my original
That's interesting.
plan. I think that, but also like from a self-confidence point of view, I was like, I'm sure there's somebody else who can do this.
Yeah.
But I think that, at the time, I spoke to God and I was like, listen, if you're going to do this, then let's do this, I had been doing a couple of sessions for like 2 years already, and I was performing at Grand West Roxy Review Bar to be Prince, for all the drunk people at the casino.
Absolutely.
I had a Jackson 5 afro on.
Can you imagine?
And so, for me, I was at a place where I was recording lots of music, and I was job shadowing. I was doing as much as I could. And I remember with this song, I played it for my friends, and it was the first song that they ever said to me, can you please play it again? And I was like,
that feeling?
That's
they like
new.
it?
Yeah. And I played it, and I was playing it on the keys and singing it. So I played it again and again. They were like, can you play it again?
Oof.
And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And that's the song that really put me on the map, especially in Cape Town.
Yes.
And I mean, that time, I just started a Facebook artist page.
Wow. Which is sitting on almost 100K, just so you know.
And that was my only
social media.
Yeah. I knew nothing about that life. And
pushing yourself as a brand.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And I was like, I remember I still didn't even know how to comment on people. Really. I was like, okay, cool. And then somebody says, oh, I heard this song in Joburg. And I still said, no, you didn't.
You didn't actually.
I think you heard it like on this station or, and then they were like, no. And then somebody else said they heard it in Durban, whatever. And then I realized it was getting played nationally.
Absolutely.
And then I ended up signing a deal. And then,
the rest is history.
The rest is history, yeah.
You're sitting before me right now looking like an absolute superstar, the superstar that you really are. And from one superstar to another, Mr. Drake and you have so much in common, I feel. I don't know if anybody has raised this comparison before, but I feel like each song that you release is bound to be a hit. And I don't know if you specifically go into it going, let's create this hit song that's going to make number one. But even as I was listening to Things We Don't Talk About, I was like, any one of these could have been the lead single.
Yeah.
Any one of these easily could have made the charts, the hit 30. Was that intentional?
I think this album has it's 4 years in the making. So I think when you think of it in that way, it's I've had a chance to sit with some of these songs for like 4 years now. Again, and it's quite full circle for me. Again, when with FBA, I didn't think I would ever release that. I didn't have the guts. I was like, there's no ways I'm ever gonna do this. Like, this was just a joke. I laughed so loud when I wrote this. I was like, this feels like a musical.
Absolutely. And it could be.
And it could be. It was like,
it should be. Can we make that happen, please?
I've got some people that can audition for you. Believe me, I got a list for you.
So, it's so funny because like 10 years ago when I started, I had similar feelings of like, can I actually do this? Like, what the,
Yeah.
And so here we are, like the album's out, and I think for me it's probably the most recent update of who I am. And
absolutely.
For me, I write about things that I know. And so I think especially as an artist, I kind of made the decision that I didn't want to be, I didn't want to limit my creativity, and I just felt like I wanted to go deeper into my level of authenticity, and especially with Cape Town, this is Cape Town's like I feel like I'm a cousin.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, especially I come here and it honestly feels like I'm a cousin to everyone in Cape Town. Sometimes when people see me,
they're like, oh, Jimmy.
Yeah, they don't even like, they're just like, how you doing, man? You know what I mean? Like, there's like,
it's been a while, where you been?
Yeah, like people talk to me very, casually, and I love that. So, I think it's really special that I have the opportunity to take it. Yeah, and even I just did a performance before I came here, and on the way I was just like so grateful that like I still get to do this.
Yes.
And I get to it's raining outside and whatever, and I was like, you know what, I get to do what I love.
Yeah.
Like every day I get to come here and see you guys, and so I think there's so many things, variables when I think about my career and even just this album.
Yes.
And even though I'm 10 years in the making now, this album makes me feel like a brand new artist because it is talking about things that I've never really spoken about before. So
speak on it, and absolutely, that's the name of the album, Things We Don't Talk About. We're gonna have a listen to Levels, which has Kai and Cruz as well as Hannah on it, and also we're gonna delve straight after that into a bit of the themes of this album and the things we don't talk about. We'll find out more details about this song, Levels in particular, after we get to spin it. This is, of course, this week's Heat on Culture Beat.
Taking a look at this week's Heat. This week's Heat.
A look at this week's Heat, and it's a special one this time around. Levels, Jimmy Nevis, Kay and Cruz, and Hannah getting together. Oh, it's so beautiful when minds are able to get together and make music that actually makes sense, right? Not only that makes sense, but music that I feel we can play in a couple years and still go, oh yeah, that's a buff. That's a good one. It is Culture Beat on Good Hope FM. Many of your messages coming through just saying, oh my goodness, guys, Jimmy Nevis, that's my crush, bro. This one saying, Jimmy, prachtig. Also, who's rapping? Sensational. That was Hannah. It's Hanna. And then also, I got a beautiful voice note coming through, and I couldn't let Jimmy Nevis leave without playing these messages for him. As soon as it works. Technology is never on our side when we need it. It's because there's so many messages coming through on the WhatsApp line. Hey, Jimmy, favorite song is 7764 is another message that had come through. Okay, while we wait for that message to load, I did want to ask you about your collaborations. So, of course, you've worked with producers like Shani J on this Butterflies. Honestly, I must admit, my favorite song on the album.
The 90s throwback.
Absolutely loved it. I mean, there's so many. It's like picking a favorite child. I can't really do it. And then your only collab is Kay and Cruz and Hannah. You said you wrote the song 3 years ago, put Hannah on it last year. So tell me more about the collaboration. How did it come about? And also, how did you go about choosing the vocals on the song?
So, Levels, which up until like December last year was called GNT, because we just didn't know what to call it properly. But myself and Kayan, we got into the studio like 3 years ago. Actually, she came to my place. And we started writing this track, and I wanted the song to almost sound like an argument. So the way we sing is like almost like on top of each other. Like she finishes the end of my thing, and and so what's really nice is when you get to work with other creative people, there really aren't any limits. And we knew we had a strong chorus with the, I can only love you as far as you love yourself.
Oof.
And, the whole song really is, that entire year, and I think for a lot of us, like dating these days it's a whole other ball game, and I think I found myself in so many like situationships and like in things that were just fizzling out. There's no real substance.
Absolutely.
It's like you go on a few dates and that's it, and so it's like these levels, and then it says level 4, we never got that far. And anyways, Hannah, the beast.
Yeah.
Hannah, I've been following Hannah online. I'm such a fan of hers, and last year I just DM'd her. I was like, yo, do you want to jump on this track?
Yeah.
Like, you're so amazing, whatever. And I think probably in like 2 days she sent me the verse.
Absolutely.
And
She said this is a no-brainer. Of course I'm going to be on your song.
Her verse is, it reminds me a lot of when Questa jumped on the Balloon remix, and he elevated the song into something else, like
added something.
You're adding something so significant, like you completely change everything, and I can't imagine the song without
it.
Yeah, so, and I love that. I love when people really bring so much of themselves into the track.
Absolutely.
And it just made it even more special. And
But I almost feel like because the album, and we're talking about things we don't talk about, is so authentic. I mean, you deal with themes of realization and love and heartbreak, desire, confidence, self-love, finding yourself again, right? Romantic relationships, how far can you go, like you mentioned, only as far as you love yourself. Those are really deep themes. And once you bring your open heart on the table, it almost makes it easier for somebody else to show up as their authentic selves. So to me, that's what Levels is. Everybody just kind of came together as their full selves, Yeah, that was beautiful. Jimmy Nevis, I have to play you this voice note before I let you go. I know I've taken a lot of your time. Let's have a listen.
Hello, Carissa.
Hi.
Hope you're well. Great to have you back. This is Melanie from Retreat. And hello, Jimmy Nevis. Wow. It's truly privilege to can listen to you. You are just so humble. I'm a big fan of yours, really, and my favorite song is Hotboxing. That is just my song from school days. I just love it, man. It's just so unique and beautiful, man. The words is really deep, but it's beautiful. And you are really one awesome musician.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
I'm your biggest fan.
Thank
Melanie
you.
From Retreat.
Shout out to you, Melanie. Thank you for getting
Melanie,
in touch.
and shout out to Retreat. Yes, man.
Absolutely. The whole of Retreat's listening right now.
Making me smile. Yeah.
I wish you could see. Later on, the interview will be uploaded, Melanie, and you can see yourself making Jimmy Nevis blush in studio. Garth B also tuned in saying Hardboxing is a treffer. Absolutely love that one.
Yeah.
Same.
He never stops talking about
Yeah.
it. I think that's your biggest fan.
Telling at the
actually.
wedding that he's playing at tonight,
No.
he's going to drop that song.
I have this vision of me being like 90 years
Yeah.
old. Like, singing Hotboxing there, like.
And we will be there as 90-year-olds singing along with you,
Exactly.
please.
Yeah.
Some 100 years old. So
No, it's so funny. I mean, I don't know if I can chat quickly.
Yeah, please go ahead.
But there's this I have family and a niece. She's like maybe like 10 years old, I think.
Yeah.
And she like she just knows me as like, uncle or
Yes.
whatever. Yeah. But she doesn't know like Jimmy Nevis. She doesn't know that other people like
Know you
me
as
and
a
whatever
superstar.
and
Absolutely.
whatever. So she finds this Hotboxing song, and she asked me one day, like, how did I do this? And like, when did I do this?
At what point in your
and
life?
how is this happening? And and now she plays Hotboxing like every day.
Oh, man.
And it's so bizarre to watch because you just continue with your life and you're somebody who just doesn't know. So it's been so funny and so strange.
You should
to
bring her
watch
to a concert. She should watch you in action.
So she's actually from Bloemfontein side. And so she's never been to one of my concerts, but I definitely gotta.
Yes, well, the Bloom
arrange
promoters
something.
better stand up and get you over
There's
there.
a music video in
100%.
that.
Yeah.
film her reaction. when she sees you.
7764 out
For
there
sure,
in
for
Bloemfontein with your little family members. Absolutely love that. Jimmy Nevis, thank you for having us. We definitely need to like make a whole podcast out of this because I could listen to you sing and talk forever, to be honest.
Sure.
But in the meantime, we'll continue listening to things we don't talk about and hopefully get some of that merch that you're rocking right now.
Absolutely. It's coming out soon.
Yeah.
We're also going to be doing a really dope tour soon as well.
Amazing.
So check all the socials.
Where can people find you?
At Jimmy Nevis across the board, or Hey Jimmy Nevis on TikTok.
Yeah.
And man, thank you so much. Shout out to Good Up FM.
Cape Town's original.
Always great to see you guys and to do this. And I don't want to go, man. You know what I mean? But I have to go. But
Don't
you know,
go.
it's one.
Fine.
I always feel like too at home.
Yes.
You know.